1981. This was a house on the prairie. Sterling Road was one lane in each direction. 3 miles west was farmland. There was nothing here except for 45 families who called Young Israel of Hollywood their home.
It's hard to imagine now, as you have 600 members of the shul and such an active involvement, to think that at one time there was nothing here. We needed lots of encouragement. And most of you are not aware of the history of Hollywood. Hollywood was always a Jewish community, not a front community, it was always a Jewish community. And it was a Jewish community because it was the only place that Jews could play golf. They could not play golf in Miami Beach, they could not play golf in Fort Lauderdale, but they could play golf in Hollywood. And there were conservative shuls. Our first shul was Temple Sinai on Johnson Street, which then later on developed and merged with Beth Shalom. And even though many, many people did not belong to Young Israel Hollywood, again, with Hollywood being a Jewish community, people were very, very, I think, delighted to see Jews walking to shul on Shabbos and stuff like that. So it always was a receptive environment there.
And it grew, and it grew. It's very slowly, very slowly. My kids had very few friends. They had to go on a bus to go to the Hebrew Academy. All the activities, there was nothing here. We didn't have a bakery, we didn't have a kosher store, we had nothing. We had a part-time rabbi. It was very makeshift, but people were determined to make it work. Once Rabbi Davis was hired, which is, I'm fast forwarding now, it really took off.
When Rabbi Davis moved here, we had 58 families. Rabbi Davis had a vision. We promised him that we would have, if we built a building, we would have 150 families in 10 years. And his vision was to get a building done. If you get a building done with a rabbi, we will grow a lot faster. He also initiated the shul dinner. The Rebbitzin was amazing in terms of inviting people to our house.
We managed. We got a minyan every day. I remember the first board of directors meeting that I attended, August 1981, and they decided, hey, it's getting kind of crowded in this house. Let's break down a wall and expand the house. And I got up and I said to them, you didn't bring me here to be the rabbi of a house. We're going to knock down this house, build a new building. I'll put in an eruv and a mikveh, and this will be a classic example of build it and they will come. Man alive, all the members of the board embraced that idea, and that night we started working. Got $10,000 pledges minimum for each member of the board of directors, and we were on our way. But that was the beginning. That was the beginning. And every step of the way was a building block. Getting our rovers for sukkahs, I went down a couple miles on the farm, went over to the owner and I said, could I trim your willow trees? And we had willows. I mean, this is how it worked back then. There were no kosher places up here at all. We were schlepping down to Miami Beach to use their mikveh, to go to the Jewish bookstore, to get kosher food. We were in the wilderness. This was Gullus with a capital G. And that's where we started.
It was a grassroots organization. We all participated. I think it's important to use the word participate, because now you have the tendency as you're bigger to think that someone else will do it, or I really don't count. And that's not really true. There has to be participation. Everyone should feel that this is their shul as an extension of their home.
Every year there was an increase in attendance, an increase in membership. It was a beautiful thing to witness. And it's all you're doing. All of you who are here tonight, you're making a special effort to recognize our past. And there are plenty of people in the audience who were participants of that.
First of all, Sam was here before I was. He was a real founder, unlike the second migration, so to speak.
Sam Rand has been here longer than I have. That's saying a lot.
Sam was a force in those early days in supporting the shul financially.
He contributed to everything. Everything he could. There wasn't one project that didn't have Sam's hand on it, and including the cornerstone of the new building. That's in his memory of his family. And he was always here, always. And you could always count on him for everything. He might gripe here and there, but he never said no. Never said no.
Dear Zadie, it is my opinion that this award ceremony does not come close to celebrating all that should be celebrated about you. Your generosity has changed lives. You already know it has, because it has changed my own. From as early as I can remember, you have taught me that it is better to give than to receive. These 8 little words have served as a reminder throughout my life away from home to always do the right thing. You are the most generous person I have ever had the pleasure of getting to love. And I genuinely thank God every day that He has intertwined our lives the way that He has. I love you so much, and I wish you the biggest mazal tov, and I am so sad that I'm not able to be there in person. I love you.
First of all, I would like to congratulate my fellow recipients for their awards, but more so for their work that they've extended to Young Israel of Hollywood. I would like to commend my friend of 40 years, Robert Aschheim, for his efforts for Young Israel of Hollywood as one of the first presidents of Young Israel, and who was instrumental in the construction of this edifice. I would like to acknowledge my son and my beautiful daughter-in-law, Greg and Edith, who flew in from Panama to Kavod Es Avicha to honor their father. The Rand family has Young Israel's blood in its veins. Greg was the first bar mitzvah boy in Young Israel. From that point on, Greg was almost an exclusive Balkara on Shabbos morning until he went away to Yeshiva University at 15 and a half years old. I consider my son a co-founder because he was at my side from the inception of the shul. I want to share my award with him. I'd like to also acknowledge our grandson, Jacob, who's not here presently, who attended BMA, Yeshiva High School in Boca, and was bar mitzvahed in Young Israel of Hollywood with Rabbi Weinstock as his bar mitzvah teacher. I would like to acknowledge my beautiful wife, my Deborah, my Ashes Kyle, my right-hand man, my left-hand man, my nurse, my Yiddish mama, Jacob's Bubby, my everything, who's the wind underneath my wings. I would feel remiss if I did not mention and pay cover to the Moreda Dorsa, Rabbi Weinstock, who has been a guiding light in our life, my spiritual counselor. Thank you very much. I would feel really remiss if I did not pay cover to my big brother, the one that people get confused with me, the Morei Diastra Gadol, our new Sephardic rabbi, who's been an integral part of my life for over 40 years as my spiritual leader, as my big brother, giving me guidance, for helping us tremendously. Last but not least, I would like to commend you all for coming, the future generation of builders of Young Israel, to make Young Israel a bastion of Yiddishkeit and Yiddish learning. Thank you very much.
Well, I first want to congratulate Robert on winning the Young Leadership Award, because to me he's younger than anybody here in the entire shul. So that's kind of where I'd start. Robert is a staple in all things fun at the shul. He's a staple at Kiddushes, that's for sure. I think you have Chulent, you have Scotch, and you have Robert, whether it's the 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, Phil Barrett's, Brian Farbman, 8:45, whatever Kiddush you're going to, you're bound to find Robert Aschheim.
So are you saying he has a drinking problem?
Oh, I don't think Robert has a drinking problem at all. I think he's an enabler. He just likes to have a really good time.
Robert Aschheim was a tireless, hard-working individual. He was one of the first presidents of the Young Israel and was on the building committee for the construction of this shul. He and I went through tribulations in our lives. He continued working for Young Israel.
He epitomizes the idea of, if you get knocked down, you just get right back up and you keep fighting. You know, I don't want to say how old Robert is, but I can tell you that I'm 42, and 9 years ago I was half his age. So you can figure out the math for yourself. But I see Rob as a contemporary of mine and love spending as much time with him as possible.
You know, he's always smiling, giggling, happy to speak about the latest Grateful Dead song that he's heard. His glow, his exuberance for life, his excitement about whether it's a shir he was listening to or something fun going on in his family. He always seems to be having a great time, and he's always fun to be around.
Sugar magnolia, blossoms blooming, that's all empty and I don't care. So my baby down by the river, knew she'd have to come up soon for air. Sweet blossom, come on.
The friendships that have blossomed over these years. I mean, I've always said that the shul is a great place to be with people, and it's also a great backdrop for spirituality. Anybody who has a spiritual inclination, I can always find it in the Young Israel. Whatever it is, I mean, whatever you are on the spectrum of religiosity or spirituality, it's a good thing to have. It's a good thing it's a good thing to have.
Do you have any thank yous?
Thank you. Other than thanking my wife for letting me do this.
Well, you might want to do it a little differently than that.
Thank my wife, Donna, who's been very supportive. She loves when I meet people. She loves me going to shul. She loves when I'm coming home a little later than usual. Strong supporter. Yeah, and I do thank the people that I've met and the people that I've grown up here with. Very strong bonds, whether the rabbis, other members of the board. Yeah, it's been a long and windy road, but it's been a very, very, very fruitful road.
She's got everything delightful. She's got everything I need. A breeze in the pines in the summer night.